I know when to turn it on and turn it off. You know what I'm saying? That's the skill to learn. Maybe. All right. I know yesterday we still have some unfinished business with IXLs for some of you. So we're going to do adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. In order to add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators, we need to find a what? What did you just practice finding yesterday? An ECD or an LCD? Sounds like we're talking TVs, LCD projector. So we'll say add, subtract with unlike denominators. Add / subtract with unlike denominators. Step one, we're always going to do find the LCD. What does LCD stand for? Least common denominator. If you remember, if it was yesterday, if not yesterday, Monday, I said you can use the ECD, which is the easy common denominator, if you so choose. But you will have to reduce that fraction more often than not. So if you find the LCD, you're doing that reducing work up front. You're saving yourself a step on the back end. It is totally up to you. I'm going to teach it and show it using the LCD because I'd rather do that quick work, find the LCD, and not have to reduce at the end. So find the LCD. Second step, you either add or subtract. It's pretty easy second step, huh? And your third step is going to just be reduce. Let's do an example. Reducing might look like, I should put this in there, simple form, simplest form, or it could also be improper fractions, improper to mixed. Because if you add 3/4 plus 3/4, you're over 1 whole, right? That would actually be 6/4, which is 1 2/4, which is 1 1/2. We've got to be able to reduce. We will practice some of those. Easy ones to remember are always, if they're both even numbers, they can be divided by what? 2. If the numerator and the denominator are both even, always divide them by 2. That's an easy one. So let's do some examples. Let's do 5/6 plus 1/3. Step one is find the what? LCD. What is the least common denominator for 3 and 6, Noah?
It's 3 times 2.
Why? So you're saying our LCD is 6. Do we have to change 5/6 then? No, that one's already done. So we're going to rewrite 5/6. Okay? That's like Chris maybe had log cabin pizza last night. And he has 5/6 of a pizza left over. I also had log cabin for last night. I was a little hungrier. I only have 1/3 left over. We're going to pool our pizza together today, and we're going to share it for lunch. How much do we have total? We have over 1 whole now, right? So Noah said we got to change that to a 6. And how did you do 3 to a 6? Times it by 2. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever multiply a number or divide a number in the bottom or the top of a fraction, you must do the exact same thing to the other side of the fraction. If we multiply by 2 on the bottom, but don't change the top, that's a new fraction. It will not be right. We've got to have an equivalent fraction, and we multiplied the denominator by 2, so we have to multiply the top by. And you can probably do that without having to write the times 2. I just do it for the visual. So we've got 5/6 plus 2/6, because 2 out of 6 is the exact same fraction as a third. That's like taking the third slice and cutting it in half. If you were to do that for all of the thirds, you then have 6 slices, but I only have 2 left. Okay? So we put them together. Chris and I have how much pizza now? 7/6. And step 3 is to reduce. Found a common denominator. We added. We now have an improper fraction. What do we need to do with that improper fraction? Devin, help me out. Yes, but we're not adding a whole number. Where are we taking that whole number out of? Out of the 7, right? Because we know that 6 goes into 7 once. So that whole number was already there. We're just taking it out. So then we have a 1 whole. Pull a 6 out of there. We have a 1 left over. So Chris and I have 1 1/6 pizza to share today. Cool. Chris kind of got the short end of that because he almost brought a full pizza. I brought like nothing. Brecken. What do you mean there's only 1 slice? Yeah, there's a whole and then 1/6 left over. Right. Quinn. Oh, I just rewrote it. I just rewrote the equation. I could have done this. I could have said, instead of going this way, I could have said, okay, well, I know 5/6 stays the same. Plus, how do we change 1/3 into 6? I just wrote it that way so I could show what we're doing. So this equal sign, Quinn, is just saying that this right here is equivalent to that right there. Would you agree? Would you say 5/6 plus a third is equal to 5/6 plus 2/6? Yeah, we just rewrote it. That's all we did. Okay, let's do 3/7. Take away 1/4. Oops. What's step 1, Quinn? LCD. Do you know the LCD for 7 and 4? Here's a hint. 7 is a prime number. If one of the denominators are prime, you're probably going to have to multiply them together. 28. So we now know that we have to change 3/7 into something over 28. Are you okay with that? We have to. Both of these fractions have to change to something over 28. We have to take the 3/7 of a pie and a 1/4 of a pie and cut their slices So it's now in 28th slices. I hope it's a big pizza, otherwise those are teeny pieces. How do we get from 7 to 28? Times it by 4. If we do that on the bottom, Devin. Thanks, Devin. What'd you say? Times the bottom by 4. We have to times the top by 4. 7 times 4, 28. 3 times 4, 12. How do we get 4 to 28? Times it by 7. Times the top by 7. Cool beans. What's our answer? What's that? 5 28. We'll keep practicing. We're not done. I'm not just going to throw you to the wolves yet. Don't worry. All of you. Especially you. Wolves only eat people that sit on the floor, so most of you are okay. See that? No, I'm not sitting on the floor. I'm okay. All right, next one. Zakia, give me a fraction. Any fraction. I'm going to work my magic. What's that? 2/8. Ooh. Okay. So we got 2/8. Remember your fraction. Ava, give me another fraction. Any fraction. Not that fraction that you just thought of. Different one. I don't know if she thought of one. 7/11. Ooh. 7/11. We're going to take away, what was your fraction? All right, you guys ready for a little magic trick? Yeah. Here's my magic trick. Best trick I've learned in a few years of teaching. I make my students do it. I love that magic trick. This is my favorite. Help me out here, somebody. What do we got to do first? No, what are we doing? Um, 11 and 8. What do you mean the equivalency, McKinley? LCD. What is the LCD of 11 and 8? 88. 11 is prime. So if you were to count through, 22 doesn't go in there, 33, 8 doesn't go in there, 44 doesn't go in there, all the way to 88. That's the first time that 8 and 11 go into the same number. So we've got to change both of these fractions. How do we do that? Brecken? You're doing reducing improper fractions. We're finding equivalent fractions. Okay? So you'd be right if it were 11/8. You'd be right. Yep. But now our question is, how do we get 11 to 88? Bella? Times 8. If we do that to the bottom, what's the top of our fraction then? 20. If you said here, times 8, where else do we have to do that? What number? 7, which is? Now, how do we get that 8 to 88? Michaela? Times it by 11. Where else do we do that? The top. So what's 2 times 11? Go ahead and do that for me. It shouldn't end in a 6. I know it shouldn't end in a 6. Because think about it, we have 56. We're taking away 22. Minus, subtract. Is she right? Partially right. Why do I point at the 4 and the 8? Quinn? Shh. Quinn? That's not a half. What kind of numbers are 4 and 8? What can we divide all even numbers by? 2. If we divide the top by 2. Nice, you guys are going to be saying that in your sleep. Because here's what we're actually doing. Okay, I don't think I've showed you this. That's my fault. If we divide the top and the bottom by 2, we're really dividing that whole fraction by 2 over 2, right? See that right here? I'll write it again. We're going to divide this entire fraction, not by 2, by 2 over 2. Why is that different? 2 over 2 is equal to what?
1.
Anything multiplied or divided by 1 is itself. So we're not changing how much that fraction's worth, we're just changing what it looks like. So when you say we're going to do this to the top and this to the bottom, you're really multiplying or dividing by 1 whole. When we multiply the top and the bottom by 8, we times by 8 over 8. 8 over 8 is equal to, you're just multiplying and dividing by 1. That's all. That's why we're able to do that mathematically. 34 divided by 2 is 17. Nice. That was awesome. 88 divided by 2 is 44. Nice. I did hear somebody say it. So 17 is prime. We cannot reduce prime numbers any further because prime numbers only have 2 factors, 1 in themselves. Can't make it any smaller. Family meeting journal, if you wanted to see that. Whoops. What are you doing? Hey, 1/3 and 2/6. We should know that one. What's that? 1 whole, 4/6, or 2/3. Do you guys like models or not models? You like models. So we'll do L6 and L9. Here's what I'm going to tell you first, though. If you did not finish K7, do K7 first. Because if you are struggling understanding equivalent fractions with common denominators, adding and subtracting is going to be worse. It's going to be more confusing. Thanks for leaving your Chromebooks closed until we're done. K7. K7 comes first, then L6, then L9. Does that make sense? L5 is still due, but I'm not going to require you have that one done before you start the 2 new ones today, because they already give you the same denominator. Okay, so you're going to do, what do we always do first? extra math, I told the other class yesterday, or did I tell you guys? If you are still in adding, one of two things. Either you haven't been doing it, or you didn't do it over distant learning, so you're behind. There's a couple of those. Secondly, or you didn't have computer, Zoe. That's different. You're not in that. Secondly, you're not working very hard. Thanks for having your Chromebooks closed. Because now when they're open, you're just being blatantly disrespectful to me, and that makes me a little frustrated. Thank you. Close them up. Secondly, you're being lazy and not doing your best. You're telling me that 3 months into 5th grade, we're still struggling with adding 0 to 12? I don't buy it. So those are my two thoughts. Maybe there's other reasons, but those are just the two that come to my head. So if you're still adding, be like, yeah, you know what? I should probably kick myself in the butt and get going. Okay? Secondly, IXL, K7 first, then the two new ones. L6, L9, to a SMART score of 80. If you start getting in a groove and you get them to 100, as always, tag your tickets. Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Yes, sir.
I can't, like, for some reason, if it's 7 plus 2, I keep saying 1 line. Make it get the line.
Get unaddicted to the one.
But 9 when it's 19.
Darn 1 and 9. Okay, I'll come help you. Any other questions?
We good to it?
Let's go.